You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys. And today, we're going to talk about all things subcontracting and how to make more money plowing snow or even in general during the winter months. I got some ideas here I wanted to share with you guys. We actually did a YouTube video on this, but I want to go a little bit more in depth and maybe didn't have time to sit in front of the screen for 10, 12 minutes and watch all those videos on YouTube. Totally get it. Frankly, neither do I. I mean, I just don't have the time sometimes to consume the content I want. I love podcasting. I can listen to podcasts when I'm at the gym or in the car or zipping around town, doing whatever I got to do, right? Grocery shopping or whatever we're doing. So we're going to be talking about how to make more money subcontracting. That's the theme of this podcast. And I'm going to just share with you guys as much info as I can here in the next 20, 25 minutes about how to make more money, specifically with snow. But of course, this can always translate into lawn and landscaping. A little bit of a timestamp here, real time. Liz and I actually just got back a couple days ago from Deer Valley Resort over in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's up in the mountains. I think the elevation was 7,000. I was going to say square feet, but that's not right. Altitude is 7,000 feet above sea level. Just an absolutely beautiful time, beautiful area. Salt Lake seemed to be very, very cool, very, very pretty. The Deer Valley Resort area, very, very nice. We did not ski, but we actually just kind of went for 4 or 5 days to get the lay of the land, scope the place out, see if it's something that we wanted to turn into a family tradition for the holidays. So I don't know if we'll be able to afford the pay grade to go there during the holiday, couple of weeks between Christmas and New Year's, but we went the week or two after that, and the rates were, believe it or not, half the price, go figure. But just an absolutely beautiful time. I think Liz and I are going to do a little debrief on that, talking the reason we went out there and it's just some things about rest and recovery and, kind of sprinting from thing to thing is how we kind of work. And that was a great little family time and was able to just kind of drop it down a gear and just spend some time with the family, just to be honest with you guys. Well, one other thing I wanted to talk about that's coming up here before you know it is going to be Together in the Trades. So just trying to give you guys some information really quick before we kind of jump into this podcast. But I've been getting a lot of inquiries lately via DM on Instagram. If you guys aren't following along, maybe give us a follow at Brian's Law Maintenance on Instagram and on YouTube. But a lot of people are asking, hey, Together in the Trades. That is the marriage conference that we co-host with my wife, obviously, and then Caleb and Brittany Allman with Allman Landscape. And that is going to be coming up June 25th in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, y'all. So if you guys want to come on down to Nashville, it's going to be a really, really good time. We've got some great guest speakers that we're going to be bringing in, as well as some professional like marriage counselors and coaches. If you guys want to maybe work on your marriage a little bit, have a little retreat mid-season, after that huge spring rush between March, April, May, the first part of June. Hey, trust me, we totally get it. That is a great time to maybe drop it down a gear, maybe shift gears, counterbalance, as I like to call it, and spend some time with the wife and go check out a one-day event. It's typically going to be on Saturdays. That's what we're trying to do and make it accessible for everybody. I think a ticket is $197. You do need 2 tickets, obviously, if you're bringing the spouse. But you know what? Come on down to Nashville. Unanimously, people voted to take it from Waco, Texas last year to Nashville, Tennessee. And I don't know, I kind of like the traveling thing and sounds like a good business write-off to me. We can always work on our marriage and spend some more time with family and our spouses. So that's going to be a really, really fun opportunity. Check that out. It's going to come quick. I know we're doing this podcast here in January, but snap your fingers. It's going to be spring. Snap them again. It's June, and we're going to be headed down to Nashville. So check that out at Together in the Trades on Instagram and online. We'll make sure to leave links in the show notes. All right, so let's jump into talking about everything subcontracting here. We're going to talk about making some more money, how to maybe fill the capacity you have with a plow truck or your guys, make as much money as we can, and keep our equipment moving as long as we can for when the snow does drop. Because as our friend Paul says, plow that snow, make that dough. Well, as long as we're plowing, we're making that dough. So we're going to give you some helpful tips to make sure we can make the most when it does snow. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, really quick. We're going to hear from him with a couple more of the show announcements and some of the show sponsors, and then we're going to get right on into it.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to shovel. I don't even have a snow blower. Nobody to plow me. Oh my God, and the neighbors suck. They don't help. Oh my God, what am I going to do?
Do you want to keep the cash flowing this winter? Head over to L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com and check out all of Brian Fullerton's new courses and powerful resources to get you cashing in on that white gold through plowing snow. The Snow Plowing Training Course is easy to understand, and you'll learn what it takes to do the job effectively and how to bid, price, and estimate snow plowing for both residential and commercial properties. L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com has 3 new resources to take the hassle and guesswork out of securing your snow removal jobs, plus there's eye-catching marketing materials that can help you secure new clients quickly. Ready to crush the snow game this year? Visit L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com or use the link in the podcast description.
All right, guys, well, let's jump right back into it, talking about all things subcontracting. Now, number one thing I'm going to say here is I'm not the guru here of subcontracting or how to make millions of dollars plowing snow or doing landscaping, okay? We have a small owner-operator business, me and a couple guys up here in Wixom, Michigan, Novi, Michigan area. And we've been, just to lay the land, maybe you're new to the podcast, we've been in business now for, this is our 17th season. Okay, it's actually kind of crazy. I'm like, dude, we're coming up on 20 years here in just a few more years. Like that's bizarre. Okay. And by the way, before that, I had been out there, shoveling snow as a little toddler at 10, 12 years old and mowing grass in my mom's trailer park at 10 years old. So we've been doing this for quite a while now. We've been doing snow removal with snow blowers and my old F-150 for a dozen years before we ever got our plow back in 2017. And since then have made quite a bit of money plowing snow. I wouldn't say we've got rich plowing snow or anything like that, but it's been a really healthy part of our business. In fact, adding snow to my company the very first year is what kicked us over 6 figures in revenue, and then plus since then. And quite honestly, it's really rounded out, helping us have a year-round business, year-round income, and not having to what's the best way to say it? Like starve in the winter. Like it's not necessarily a killing, but we're also not starving. It's just been a healthy go, and we don't have to really dip into savings or totally save all of our nuts for fall and winter, with the summer season and all the landscape money that we make. Although that's not a bad practice. In fact, we still do that. We put a bunch of money in the bank in September and October. All of our leaf cleanups and all that money as well. That's kind of our last haul. And then we kind of like hold on tight for winter. But the way we kind of set up our business with residential prepay and commercial per push has kept us just, being in a healthy position revenue-wise to make sure that our bills are paid, our payroll's paid, and to make some profit. So it's been a pretty good run so far, and we're pretty happy with where we're at. So talking about subcontracting here, here's the reason that I wanted to talk about this is shooting this podcast real time. There is a huge storm going over the Midwest, and they're calling, between 4 and 8 inches for, from Minnesota to Wisconsin, all the way down to Illinois. Awesome. And then on the East Coast, there is a huge snowstorm going through as well. That's 4 to 8 to 12 to 18 inches once you get into Pennsylvania, the Northeast with maybe New York area to, Massachusetts, Connecticut, all that area, right? So here's the deal. A lot of money to be made, snow plowing. If you have good contracts, you have good rates, good clients, good expectations, good equipment, I think you can make quite a bit of money plowing snow. I don't know why everybody thinks out there that, snow plowing is like a $20 an hour thing, or nobody ever makes money and all your equipment just gets rusted out and damaged and destroyed. It doesn't have to be that way necessarily. And it's not from the folks that I learned from, like a Mike Bedell and a Troy Clogg and some of the other folks that we would name, but you guys wouldn't really know them. They're regionally pretty successful guys in the industry. So here's the deal, though. A lot of us are doing snow plowing and snow removal, and maybe it's your first year in business or first couple years in business, or maybe you are expanding business and you are buying another truck or another truck and plow, and you want to keep your equipment moving as much as possible. Hello, talking to myself here. So that we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always trying to make more money, and we're trying to do it as efficiently as possible. I love to literally squeeze as much profit out of every single thing that we do. So talking about subcontracting, it might be a great way to bridge the gap to make some more money. So what are we talking about specifically with subcontracting? Well, for example, maybe you're new to the industry or first couple years, or you've never done it before. It's really, really simple process. Somebody else typically has an account or a contract, and they are looking to sub out the work. They're looking to have somebody else do the work. So for example, they have a parking lot, and maybe it's a gas station or a hotel or a commercial strip mall, whatever it is, or a tech park. It can be a little bit of everything. It could be a fast food restaurant, a tire shop, whatever it is, and they need snow removal. Right. And so somebody got that account, or they have hundreds of accounts, and maybe they're a national, company that has 10,000 accounts, or maybe it's a regional company that has 1,500 accounts, and they don't have 1,500 plow trucks. They don't have 500 plow trucks. They don't even have probably 100 plow trucks, and they might not even have 100 guys to jump in those trucks to plow. So what do? They call them service providers or partners or subcontractors, right? And so it's just really simple, just to give the lay of the land, and might be some recap for some of us that have been doing this for a minute, is they have a commercial parking lot. Let's just say, for example, it's 2 acres, and they get a couple $100 to have it plowed. Well, they're looking to hire somebody out that has a plow and a truck for $65, $75, $90, $100, $150 per hour to take care of that job. So a lot of the times our commercials is going to be at a per push price. To clean it up, it's a per push price. But subcontracting, usually it's at an hourly rate. Now, you can also negotiate a per push rate. So let's say to do a commercial parking lot, it's for an acre, it's $175 per push for 1 to 3 inches, whatever. Maybe you're subcontracting out for $125 to do that. I do that with one of my friends, actually, for some subcontracting work. We have a fixed price for what they do one of our commercial sites for, because it's a satellite site. It's about 20 minutes down the road, not too far away. But when you add in snow and driving on highways and traffic jams, I got pinched a couple times last year and the year before with 3 parallel roads all shutting down. If you guys know the area, Grand River, 96, and Pontiac Trail all got literally shut down, 6 inches of snow, and I'm over 20 minutes west of where I needed to be, where the core of my 90% of my other work and properties were. So that was no bueno. It took us 3 hours to navigate 2.5, 3 miles. So my other friend who lives a mile down the road, half a mile down the road, takes care of one of my sites. Fantastic. So here's the deal. Talking about subcontracting, maybe you have been out there and you're trying to get customers. Maybe you've got 5, 10, 20, 30 residential clients. Maybe you've got 2, 5, 10 commercial sites, but there's some bandwidth, let's call it. Okay, so let's say to go out and do your plow run, it's 8 or 10 hours, or you feel comfortable going out for 8, 10, 12 hours. After that, you're going to get a little tired, a little sleepy, a little drowsy. So I'm not a big fan of the, going for 20, 36 hours straight. If you want to, fantastic. When I was 17, 18, 20, 25 years old, I could hang with the best of them. Now that I'm 35-year-old and kind of an old fart, getting cranky, I like nice equipment, high production, get the job done, and then go home. I want to go home. I want to get 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. I want to spend time with my wife, spend time with my newborn baby. Priorities just change a little bit. I don't care about going out there for 18 hours straight. Now, I do want to be profitable. I do want to make some good money. So when we do, we have great prices and great efficiency. That's kind of the name of the game. But what happens if you only have 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, maybe filled up of what a route could be, a 10, 12, 16-hour night? So that's where subcontracting comes into play. You can go work for other people. Now, I know, again, this might be kind of a remedial or recap or even some elementary stuff for some of you guys that have been doing this for a few minutes. But for new folks, I think it's extremely important. It's extremely a valuable topic because it can really help bridge the gap to making sure that your bills are paid, that your truck payment's paid, that your snowplow payment is paid, that your guys can be paid through the winter and or keep them on during the winter. That's huge. I know a lot of guys are always wondering, hey, how do I find good people, or how do I keep people on, or what do I do for the 3 months between, let's say, maybe December, January, and February? Because a lot of us can squeak out cleanups in November and start some spring cleanups maybe in first part of March. But let's imagine this, for example, you're paying out of pocket $500, $800 a week, $1,000 a week for some of your employees or key people. You don't want to lose them. You don't want to throw them on unemployment and have them get idle and then go find a job making $28 an hour doing construction or whatever. So you're able to keep them busy and yourself busy. So let me give you just a couple for instances and a couple examples. Going into this winter, we had 4 commercial sites. The year before we had 6. We lost 2. One actually quit, went with a different provider. And then the other one sold the well, their lease was up, whatever you want to call it. So they were no longer at this manufacturing, like machine shop, small building, small commercial, a little outfit, 1 acre parking lot. So so we went down to 4 commercial sites, and then we've actually been weaning off of our residentials. I'm enjoying doing residential work less and less every year. Maybe you guys can relate. So we went from like 40 residentials with snowblowers for forever to 30, and then 27, and then 25, and now we're at like 20, 22, maybe 23. But in the same time, our prices went up 20 to 30% per year on all of our snow plowing. So it went from $249, $279s, $3.25, $349s, $399s. My pricing, if you guys get to know my story, maybe you go all the way back to our very first episode. We were kind of the lowball guy. We didn't know what we didn't know. Okay. And we're learning every day. We don't profess to have it figured out. I think that's something that we try to do a really good job at, is being honest and transparent about, hey, we've messed this thing up 7 ways to Sunday. Okay. We've messed it up as much or more than the next guy and maybe you. So hopefully you can learn from our mistakes. And especially if you're the newer guy, maybe in your first year or first couple years in business, hey, that's what the podcast is all about. That's what the YouTube channel is all about. All right. So talking about our capacity, we had 4 commercial sites and we had about 22 residentials going into this season. And I said, that's a good, that's a good 6, 7, 8 hours worth of work. We can bang that out pretty good. That's, a couple $1,000 in revenue, and it's a really good time, but we have capacity. We definitely have capacity. We're actually trying something different where Rob's going off one way and he's doing all the sidewalks and the front porches. He's getting compensated for using his vehicle and all this other stuff. And then we're able to go plow our commercial sites. So imagine this. 4 commercial sites, they're about 1 acre by design, the ones that we take on. And so that's about 4.5, maybe 5 hours worth of work. So I have like 4, 5, 6 extra hours that I could easily be out there plowing snow. To rip through all of our residentials, it's about 1.5 hours to do the other 20 driveways. Literally. It's back drag, push. We're out of there. 3 minutes of drive when you don't have to do the porches and the sidewalks. I mean, that's a pretty sweet setup. And for Rob, it's 3 minutes. He unloads the snowblower, does the sidewalks, does the front porch, or frankly, Rob's a big guy. He can shovel 2-3 inches of snow, and he doesn't get exhausted. We're actually bringing on another guy, Mark. So Mark goes out with Rob now lately, and they can both tag out a site in, 2 minutes, jump in the truck and zip down to the next one. So it's all about efficiency. For us, it's boom, 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 let's go. All right, so to go back to the truck, we only have 4 commercial sites. Why are we not finishing out a 6, 7, 8, 9 hour night? So that's what I did. Going back, by now, about 6 weeks ago, we were looking at the lay of the land. I did the very first snowstorm that went out, a little 2-inch slush storm, just nothing really fancy, but everybody kind of got the rust out and we kind of learned the route and we're trying to get efficient. And it's like going back into mowing season. You're getting like your first week, and it's kind of like nice that the grass isn't growing super fast because you can kind of get the rust out. You can learn properties, kind of take your time. And then 2-3 weeks into it, the grass just starts growing like crazy and we got to just be on it, right? So I reached out to 2 different friends. Or I should say 2 different people. One was a friend of mine named Tyler. He's been on the show, really good guy. He's got a business and he's got a bunch of sites over in Novi where I live. And he's, if you look at our area, he's like on the south side of where I'm at. I'm on the northeast side. So a lot of his sites are in the northeast side. And he wants to do a lot of the stuff on the south side. By the way, we're talking about 2-3 miles. But when you're in a metro area, and then it snows and everybody's running out to get their Olive Garden breadsticks, I always call it, that can turn into a 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute commute just to go 3 miles down the road. And some of you guys doing snow plowing, you can totally relate. So subcontracting out for your friends and then having your friends subcontract out for you can be a super efficient way to make more money. This is something that I had 2 1-hour calls with my friend Mike. We were just spitballing, and that's why I'm doing that for with one of my friends, Mike. I'm doing it for my friend Tyler. Tyler's doing it for me. We're all just trying to be as efficient as possible. Okay, so here's what happened. I reached out to my friend Tyler. I said, hey, I got some bandwidth. I can subcontract out. And he gave me 4 sites. I don't know what he charges for the 4 sites, but for our subcontractor rate, it's $100 an hour to go plow snow. So I can do his 4 sites in about 2 hours. It's an extra $200. It's an extra $200 every time it snowed. So it snowed, I think, 4 times now. So we went out and subcontracted all of his sites, those 4 times, and that's an extra $800 that we've made for our friend, for a profit for me, and he's probably made 2 to 3x that, obviously billing out to the customer. So subcontracting, that took my 4 to 5 hour route, right, after my commercials are done, and I said, Tyler, I got some room, bro. Hit me up. What can I do for you? And I said, here's the deal. They're going to be done after mine. But actually, it's pretty cool because they're literally all within the same 1 mile radius of where I live and where I'm at. So they're done pretty quick. It's not like we're coming out 24 hours later. So anyway, we took our 4 to 5 hour commercial route for my truck and the plow, and now we stretched it to 6, 7, 7.5 hours. Fantastic. We're out there making money. Now, running the truck on my own, I could be billing out at $175 to $250 an hour, right? That's kind of the idea. But subcontracting out for, just to give the lay of the land, some good rates out that I've heard are anywhere between $75 and $150 an hour. Why the spread? Well, it just is going to come down to efficiency, productivity, knowledge, experience, just kind of common sense stuff. If you have an old, Chevy square body, half ton with a straight blade Super Duty that's 20 years old and, it's reliable, but it's only going to be so productive. Maybe somebody else has a 1 ton, truck and it's got a 10-foot EXT plow and it can do an 1.25 acres per hour versus a 0.75 acres per hour on a straight blade, right? You got to know production rates and numbers. It's just the way it is. So you might be more experienced, with a Boss DXT 9.2 and the big truck and you're a big dog out there and you know the sites, how to plow, you're efficient, you're not the new guy. Well, maybe you can command $100, $125, $150 an hour, right? That's going to be dependent too on the person you're subcontracting out for. Did they get a good rate? Do they have good contracts? Do they have good pricing? Obviously, they're not going to pay you, hopefully, more to plow and subcontract than they're charging the customer. That would be bad business. But again, I don't know, crazier things have probably happened, okay? So that's usually the spread that I see is anywhere between $65 and $125 to $150 an hour. For my friend Tyler, it's $100 an hour. It's fair. It's great. It's a great relationship, great partnership. Everything's right in my route. I'm super happy with that. Okay, maybe factor in some drive time. If you are having to drive all across town to 4 or 5 different sites, maybe you do want to make $100, $125, $150 an hour to cover fuel and the frustration of dealing with traffic. I don't know, just talking out loud. Okay, the other scenario with subcontracting here, and I'm also going to give some more information here about maybe you don't have a plow, how you can still make some more money just with labor or snowblowers or with you and your guys and being on an assault rig. Let me get into that here in a minute, but. To go back to the other person that we subcontract out for, this is the for the contract for the apartment complex that Liz and I live at. So like I said, same thing. First snowstorm, I get done at 4.5 or 5 hours, and I'm like, our new system is awesome, right? It took me like from 8 to 12 hours with me, Rob, riding together to divide and conquer, and we got another truck on order, so hopefully we can be even more efficient and keep it small, keep it tight, but keep it super profitable, right? Well. Because we divide and conquer, we went from like 8 hours together to he's out for 3 hours, I'm out for 4 hours, like super efficient. Okay, well, now I got these extra sites I'm subbing out for my friend Tyler, but I didn't have that relationship at our first snow event for 2022. So I get home after about 5 hours and I'm like, I'm kind of like excited, kind of fired up, like snow fell, like maybe you guys can, appreciate the excitement, the hustle, the frenzy, So I'm like, well, I want to make some more money. And I get home, drop the plow, and I go up upstairs and take a hot shower. And I come out and I peek out the window with some underwear on, hopefully. I can't remember, but I would hope so. And I peek out the window, and the skid steer for the apartment complex is back dragging all the driveways. They have one skid steer in here and then 2 guys part of the shovel crew. So big property management company that has the contract here, way bigger than anything that I'd want to deal with. And so I'm like, man, like, dude, they're barely at like the 3rd building and there's like, I don't know, 12 or 14, 15 buildings in here. It's a huge new construction. They're apartments, but they kind of like townhome condos, like little 1,400 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, just little condos, right? So I'm like, I've got this nice rig, nice setup. I want to make some money. What the heck, So I actually reached out to one of them. They're all Hispanic, obviously a little language barrier there. So I said, all right, screw it. Don't worry about it. Just no big deal. Because I was like, hey, you guys need some help. And a little bit of a language barrier. Okay, so it didn't really get through. So the next morning, I call up the company that I know manages the place because I see them all the time, obviously in the summer and in the winter. And so I called them up and said, hey, I've got some bandwidth. I got some capacity. I said, I'd be willing to subcontract out at the end of my route. So one thing I just want to say is if you guys need to subcontract out for somebody, just be clear on expectations, okay? Because there are some people that you are going to subcontract out for, and they're going to want that their site's done first. And I'm not opposed to that, okay? Just make sure you're getting paid adequately, or you have the bandwidth, or your customers maybe not, maybe they're not as high profile. Maybe it snows on a Sunday, and all you really have to worry about is churches. But if it's a Sunday, and somebody else wants to give you 4 commercial businesses, and you have 8 other commercial businesses, okay, well, no big deal. But also think about that too. Let's say it starts or ends snowfall on a Tuesday at 7 a.m., and you're like, crap, I got to do my sites and their sites. How do I get this all done? Well, now you're going to get pinched, right? So just think that through. Any which way, to go back to the other company, I said, hey, I got some room. I can plow. At the end of my route, my day, I got about a 6-hour route. Looking to fill up some of the time for my truck. Owner-operator, I got F-250, Boss 9.2. Said I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. I'm pretty efficient at it. I wouldn't say I'm the best, but I think I'm pretty good. And he goes, well, what? He goes, we're totally open to that. He goes, that's a big site. What do you want for a rate? I actually didn't know. Talking about coaching or mentorship or, learning from other people, I should have, before I said a rate, I should have said, or even called somebody else. I should have said to my friend Mike, hey, what's the going rate for subcontracting? Because I said $75 an hour. And so some of you guys might have did the face, smack there, the face palm. I get it. But it's okay, because I'm at the site anyway at the end of the night. When I'm done, I park the truck in the driveway, go upstairs, like I said, take a hot shower, go to bed at, whatever time. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. I got to come back over here anyway. What should I and would I have liked to have get $90, $100, $125 an hour? Yes. I think that's what somebody of my capacity and skill set is worth. I'm crazy efficient. I'm a maniac, just like a lot of you guys. You have to be as an owner operator. I think I'm a pretty good plow truck driver. So anyway, but I just said $75 an hour. I didn't know. I didn't care. I was like, you know what? If I can get an extra hour or two in here and another $150 to $200 at the end of the night, fantastic. That rounds out the 8 hours that I'm looking to fulfill the capacity for my plow truck, right? So anyway, talked to them. The guy was super cool. He's like, absolutely, very professional outfit. I'm actually really impressed with how they handled the whole interaction and conversation. He's like, what's the name of your company? I go, I'm Brian with Brian's Law Maintenance. And then this sounds weird, but if you guys, if you know, kind of have a little bit of a social media following. So I was like, I'm waiting for him to be like, oh my God, I watch your videos, or, oh my God, we're not going to hire you because who knows what's going to happen. Or, I mean, dude, the Plinko chip could go 100 different ways. In the best way, personally the most fun way, because I'm not an extrovert, and you guys have heard this before, but he goes, okay, cool. He goes, so anyway, let me get you a subcontractor agreement, and we'll do. And I was like, oh, thank God. He doesn't know who I am. And I'm a nobody. Okay, let's just relax. But you guys know what I'm saying. I'm like, I just want to work. I just want to make some money. I don't want him to be weird, or them to be weird, or the guys that he's working here to be weird. I don't know if they follow on YouTube or social media. Look, I just want to work. I'm just one of the guys. And I'm not saying I'm fancier or special than I'm trying to communicate. It's just, sometimes you can't go anywhere in our industry without being like, oh my God, it's Brian's Law Maintenance. I'm like, dude, I'm just a regular guy. I just want to work, don't treat me special. Okay. So that was a home run for me, cause I'm like, oh yes, these guys have no clue who I am, and I'm a nobody, but I was like, I just want to work. So I was actually really relieved, because I don't know. It's just, some people get weird. And so anyway, he said, well, what are you looking for? I said $75 an hour. He goes, that's totally fair. He goes, we're kind of in that range between $75 and $100 an hour. I said, fantastic. You guys know what I'm saying? So I was really excited about that. Quick little tip here, little plug for subcontractor agreements. And I know somebody's like, here we go. Here's the contract promotion. True. because you have to have good subcontractor agreements and good commercial contracts for lawn care or snow plowing, right? And we have all these resources. We have a training website called launchpreneuracademy.com. They're downloadable, plug and play, editable documents, contracts, resources. We just launched the subcontractor agreement about 2 weeks ago. Okay, and actually quite a few people have been downloading it, which, by the way, thank you for the support. And number two, if you haven't checked it out, download it, get it, put it in your arsenal, put it in your toolbox, have that resource for when you do need it, okay? Because if you're subbing somebody out or you're becoming a subcontractor, you need a good quality subcontractor agreement. And that's going to explain the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how, the scope of the work, the payment terms, the expectations of the site, all the legalese for hiring each other out. That's what's in a good subcontractor agreement. I think ours is 3, 4, 5 pages long, and it's extremely detailed and it's extremely straightforward as well. So if you are looking to sub somebody out, or you're looking to sub yourself out, and somebody else says, "Hey, awesome, man, well, I'll just pay you at the end of the month." No. You need a contract. You need a subcontractor agreement. I'm telling you straight up. And by the way, funny thing, without even batting an eye, the guy goes, "All right, fantastic. Well, we'll get you, we need a W-9 from you. I'll send you our subcontractor agreement. If sign and get it back to me, if you get those two back to me, you're on deck, and link up with the foreman on the site and work together." And you know what? It took me 2 seconds to read their subcontractor agreement, pretty straightforward document. And then also got my W-9 for them as a 1099 subcontractor, and we were in business. All right, we were ready to rock and roll. And then I think a week or two later, it ended up snowing. I get done with my route 5-6 hours later and come on over here. And frankly, I just started dropping the plow because these guys were actually like boss hoss dudes. Shout out to the guys that manage my complex. These 3 Hispanic Mexican guys freaking crushed it. We didn't even have to talk to each other the whole night. Everybody just knew what to do. And that was actually really, really cool. There's 2 shovel guys, one guy in the skid steer. He had a push box, and then he also had a back blade, or not a back blade, but just a straight blade plow. And he was able to back drag from all the sites. I was scooping and dumping and putting everything. It went awesome. We did the whole site in I think 2.5 hours. And they were probably out here for about 2-3 hours before. But we just, probably save those guys 3 extra hours, 4 extra hours easily, at the end of the night. So they could either A, could go home, or B, they can go on to the next site, right? And that's just called working together, right? Like, I had margin, I had capacity, I wanted to make more money. These guys have a pretty, large account. They could have had a couple more pieces of equipment on site, but whatever. Maybe if they had a snow raider or a second skid, but that gets expensive. But let's say they get paid $750, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 to do the whole place. I don't know the contract or the rate that they have here. But you know what? To get those guys done earlier and to just pay somebody else, $75 an hour and to chip away 3 extra hours of labor, that's not a bad gig. That's not a bad setup. Right? Because the name of the game of snow is, yes, make money, but number 2, it's yes, get it done. There's an expectation that it needs to be done in 6, 12, 18, 24 hours. And so that's my point talking about this whole podcast is maybe you've got equipment, maybe you've got labor. There are tons of people that need your help, and maybe you don't have a full route. You can totally subcontract out to make some really good money, $35, $75, $150 an hour, depending on what kind of equipment you have. Trucks, skid steers, tractors. By the way, just snow blowers and labor. Like I said, maybe you got 3 guys and you're trying to keep them busy. Hey, subbing them out for $35 to $45 an hour is not a bad idea. Okay. By the way, fast forward 6 weeks later, we've actually picked up 2 more residentials, and we also have 4 more commercial sites that we've locked down. One being a pretty large site, one being a good, medium-sized site, another being a medium-sized site, and another one being kind of a small, medium-sized site. So that's easily another 4 hours of capacity. You make me happy. So that's another 4 hours that we've added to our route. So here's the deal. Now I've got 8 hours of plow time pretty much on one truck. That's on a 1 to 3 inch snowstorm. So we know if it's 5 or 6 inches or 8 inches, it's going to be another 20, 30, 40% more time. I also have my other friends' 4 sites. Now we have 12 commercial sites that I get to manage. And you know what? I'm so much happier with that. That is money in the bank. That is a solid plow run. That is really, really good money for me. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you're all rockstar millionaires. I don't know. For me, I'm happy. That makes me so much happy to go on out and make $1,500 to $2,500 a night, whatever it is, just on my commercial stuff, without salt, without our residentials. To me, that's really, really good for production for one truck for, 7, 8, 10 hours. Okay. So really quick, one thing I wanted to do is talk about, maybe you don't have a plow, maybe you don't have a huge truck, or maybe, you just don't have that going on just yet. Maybe it's the winter and you still want to make some more money. There's nothing wrong with subcontracting yourself out. General labor. I mean, 25, 30, 35 bucks an hour, shoveling sidewalks, being on a shovel crew. It's not glamorous. It's cold. Maybe it's not as cool as being in the plow. I get it. Okay. Or in the plow truck. I get it. But you know what? $25 to $35 an hour is not a bad rate when you're sitting at home doing nothing, eating bonbons and, cruising Amazon. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? I've done so many, like, I don't even know what you call it. Just humbling ego death, ego humbleness pie. Okay. I've eaten the pie more than anybody. I've worked at medical supply warehouses. I've done demo construction for my friend's dad. I've done all of it to just keep the bills paid, to keep the money coming in. Okay. So I'm not telling you what to do, but I would imagine that your wife would probably be more happy if you were out and about making some money in the winter instead of just saying, hey, I'll get it out there when the grass grows and we can start slinging mulch. I'll make up for it in the spring, or you're living on credit cards. Don't do that. Don't do that. Go out there and figure out a good way to make some money. Okay. If you're just sitting around doing nothing, there's no reason that you can't have a successful lawn landscape business, make 150 grand, gross or net, I don't care, in 9 months, and go work at Amazon making 16, 18 bucks an hour, delivering or, working in the warehouse. There's no ego there. Okay. And you know what? If you got your money right and you got your finances right, and maybe you have your winter fund like Johnny Moe talks about, which is a great suggestion. Go Google search that and YouTube search that and hear Johnny's philosophy. It's great philosophy to start off with. Maybe that's okay. Maybe it's okay to save your nuts and to not have to worry about, having any winter income for December, January, February, maybe even March. Okay. But maybe you can't save 4 months of income to have your bills paid in the winter while also trying to make, headwind in the spring and the summer, especially with a new company. That's a tough road to hoe, is make money, pay things off, and save an extra, 10, 15, 20 grand to pay your bills in the winter. That's tough. I don't think I did that once for the first 10 years. Okay. That was one of my solutions though, was plow, do snow, and be able to have year-round income. All right. So number one, maybe go make some extra money subbing out for one of these guys, just general labor. Talk to them. I mean, they're great people, and you never know what these partnerships and relationships can turn into. Fertilizer subcontracting work, landscaping subcontracting work. They can just refer you mow accounts. You never know. It's the good old boys. Like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and you're making partnerships and friendships that are going to last forever. Another one is maybe you are ambitious, excited, you want to make some more money. There's a lot of people out there that have the equipment. Believe it or not, there's guys that have trucks and plows, but they don't have labor to drive them. And you're like, I've never plowed snow before. Hey, neither did I. I remember literally learning my very first snow plow event was a 5-inch snowstorm. I remember dropping the blade, $60,000 truck, $8,000 plow. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've watched 100 videos from Dirt Monkey. I've watched 100 videos from just YouTube. We didn't have Launchpreneur Academy with the snow plow training course and how to, we had none of that crap. Okay. We didn't have 50 videos from my channel alone, how to plow snow, or the Spencers. It was nothing like that. Okay. Like, I literally dropped the blade and just went for it. And dude, I'm just banging the ground and I'm like, I have no idea. But you know what? We figured it out. We actually didn't do too bad of a job. Okay. So any which way, to go full circle on that thought, maybe you've never plowed snow. Go find somebody that has a plow and a truck, and you can jump in the truck for $25, $30, $35 an hour. Wide open. Happens all the time. Great way to make some extra money. Maybe you're like, I don't have 50 grand to invest in a truck or 10 grand to invest in a plow. Hey, totally get it. I wish that I would have did what I was just saying to learn. Do you know how much, sounds weird, but you know how much better it would have been for me to learn in somebody else's equipment that had an old, regular cab, 2012 F250 with a VXT or a straight blade? I should have learned way back when. I don't know why I didn't or what I was afraid of or any of that mess, but 10 years ago, I should have been in somebody else's truck, learning and playing bumper bowl, like I call it, in the parking lots, messing up their equipment. Amen. For $35 an hour. And that's not a bad rate. Okay. That's not a bad rate. I don't care who you are. All right. Number two is outside of subbing out you, or you on a shovel crew, or maybe you have a snowblower, by the way. Nothing fancy, but talk to somebody and say, hey, I want to do shovel crew, but I got my own snowblower. I think I can be more efficient. I'll tote that thing around, but how about 35, 40, 45 bucks an hour? And a lot of people would probably say yes. I would say yes. I'm like, hey, 45 bucks an hour to go do all the sidewalks and shovel and clean it all up. Hey, you're more valuable. You're adding more value. You're faster. You're more efficient. You're doing a better job. And you got your own snowblower. Yeah, 45 bucks an hour. It sounds great to me. And by the way, you can play with these rates and you can play with these numbers. I'm just trying to get your brain thinking about how to make more money, how to make more money in the winter, how to pay for the truck, how to pay for the blade, how to pay for your payroll, how to pay for your insurance, right? And then have enough money to go get, something off the dollar menu. Amen. So let me see really quick here on my notes. Oh, this is another really good one. Outside of subbing for somebody's truck, inside, somebody's truck and taking their truck out, is the salt crew. There's a lot of companies that have huge salt rigs and or just regular size salt rigs, and they have a spreader and they load up 1-2 tons of salt. A lot of money is made in salt. You guys know that. I don't sub out or I don't do salt because I have a great sub. I sub out my salt for now. Mike Bedell does a great job for me. He's on it, like white glove with my clients. White glove with payment terms with me. He's the most generous guy you know. By the way, if you need some salt work in Milford, Novi, Wixom, that whole general area, if you live where we live local, reach out to Bedell. He does a lot of salting actually for a lot of people, and he's a subcontractor for a lot of folks as well. So he can take care of you if you want to make some extra headwind with your salt runs. Reach out to Bedell. He's great at that. So a lot of companies have salt rigs, and they'll go out and about and just spread salt. And same thing, maybe you're in that truck for 35 bucks an hour and you're doing a 6-8 hour salt run. That's a great way to make some extra money. Maybe you don't feel comfortable plowing snow. I get it. It's slippery, it's crazy, machinery, equipment. You're like, dude, what am I doing? It's my first year. I totally get it. It can be intimidating, right? I totally understand. Number two, maybe you just want to jump in a salt rig, a salt truck. They have a regular cab F250 with a Boss V-Box. They say go over to this part of the yard. Somebody loads you up with a ton or a couple yards of salt. Then you zip around to the sites. You adjust the spreader a little bit. They can teach you. It's not that complicated, right? But you can go out there and make 35 bucks an hour. A friend of mine, Joseph DePace, he's over in Sterling Heights, Michigan. I know he subs out for salting for one of his friends. It's nothing super fancy or super glamorous, but you know what? If you can make an extra 200 bucks once or twice a week, right? And that's an extra, I don't know, 800, 1500, 2000 bucks a month. That's good pay the bill money, right? That just makes sure your payments are made. And maybe you're not getting rich doing snow. Okay, that's fine, but at least your bills are paid and you're not going backwards for the spring and coming in the spring with, $6,000 on your Chase Sapphire credit card. Okay, that's not the route. That's not what we want to do. I want you guys to be as profitable as possible, making as much money as possible. Tons of options out there, okay? One other thing I was going to say too is down south, a lot of you guys are in like those transition zones, right? From Tennessee's to Virginia's, maybe in the Carolinas. Sometimes you guys get these weird, crazy snowstorms or ice storms that come through, right? I know so many folks out there that subcontract out, like I was just talking, to drive for the city, for the municipalities, or for the larger accounts. The larger companies that have these larger accounts and the equipment and the bandwidth. So, for example, let's say you live in Virginia, get 2-3 ice storms a year and, one snow event per year. You're not going to invest $8,000 in a plow and $8,000 in a salter and all this other mess, right? It's just not worth it. But the bigger companies that have these huge accounts, they have no problem spending that money and having that equipment, even if it only gets used 3-4 times a year, because they're going to charge a premium to lay that salt, to plow that snow, because they're the only ones in town with a salter or a plow, right? So, for example, let's say some of these larger accounts, larger companies have this equipment. Well, they need people, they need labor, right? We all know that, just like anything else. So if you're in one of these transition states, reach out to those companies in, the fall, September, October, November, and say, hey, I normally take 2-3 months off. I'm usually doing leaf cleanups until December. But if you guys need somebody for the salt crew or salt rig or any of that mess, whether it's like just general labor, give me a shout. And you know what? You might go out 2, 3, 4 times. And I'll tell you what, making an extra $400 or $800, it is extremely helpful. I know we're not trying to live with like a poverty mindset or anything like that, but I'll tell you what, there's many, many times a decade ago where an extra $400 a month would have made a world of difference, right? I have come into spring with $5,000 that I've racked up on a credit card, not from zipping around on Amazon, but paying basic bills, right? It's not glamorous. I'm not proud of it. I didn't know all these different creative ways to make more money, but man, I wish I would have, because that's where we used to do like spring aerations and all the spring mulch. It used to just go to paying off the debt that we racked up in the winter. We don't have to do that anymore, right? And hopefully you guys get to a position where you don't have to do that anymore. And maybe you've never done that. Fantastic. Maybe you've already kind of realized some of these things with subcontracting, outside of getting your own customers, of course, which is going to be your core business and your core profit. But there's nothing wrong with subcontracting out. I mean, it's especially for snow plowing and snow removal. It's great money. It's not like you're getting a lawn for $40 and you're subcontracted out for $25 or $30. Okay, it's not really worth anybody's time to subcontract out lawn accounts unless it's a mall or something big, or you just don't go over there, right? And you can subcontract it out to a friend who's already there. That makes sense. But snow plowing, somebody's getting paid $150 to $200 for 1 to 3 inch trigger, and they're subbing you out for $125 an hour. Hey, they're still making $50 to $75 off of you doing that job times 10 different sites. It's not millions, but it's still really profitable for them if they're not taking the house and you're taking the house. It's definitely a win-win in snow plowing, way more than probably any other service, okay? So just looking down here at my notes here, probably should have done that a little bit along the way. Last thing I'll say is the contracts. Good contracts at launchpreneuracademy.com for commercial snow plowing and residential snow plowing, and then also subcontractor agreement, subcontractor contracts. Okay, they're fantastic tools, fantastic resources. I think the commercial contracts are like $99. The residential ones are $99. There's a bundle for like $179. Most corporate attorneys and anybody you're going to hire out is going to be $250 to $350 an hour. Okay, and it's going to take them 5-10 hours to make good contracts. Boom, plug and play contracts. Subcontractor agreement, $75. It's a steal. There's other websites I was looking at, just shopping around, snooping, and their subcontractor agreements are 2 to 3, 4x that. And I guarantee you they're not as effective or good as what we have. Okay, I just know that for a fact. I've used their subcontractor agreements for 5+ years with Bedell. They're actually from the Debt for Your Landscaper website. We migrated those over. They're part of the Launchpreneur Academy family now. And so Bedell wanted to pay it forward, to get those out there, make them available. We didn't jack the price up or anything like that. That was an acquisition at my cost to make them available to you guys and to hopefully one day break even. So anyways, that's funny right there. So here's the deal. If you need good commercial contracts or subcontractor agreements, check them all out at launchpreneuracademy.com. And that's what I got. All right. So this is 45 minutes of me just pouring it out there, trying to help you guys make as much money plowing snow. Keep your guys moving. Keep your equipment moving. Maybe you got a skid steer you can keep moving. Maybe you've got a salter that you can keep moving. Maybe you only have 5 sites and 5 parking lots or 4 of them that you salt for. We'll go reach out to the big boy outfits and the big companies and say, hey, I got my V-Bucks. If you want to load me up with your salt and hit your sites, I will, and figure out an hourly rate or a per application rate or a per ton rate or whatever. Okay. Long story short, let's keep the big context, the macro here. Snow is an all hands on deck industry and business and event, right? 4, 6, 8, 12 inches goes through, and the expectation is to rip everything clean in 12, 18, 24 hours max, right? That takes an army of people. So there's a lot of money moving. There's a lot of resources moving, a lot of equipment moving, a lot of machinery moving. By the way, it's crazy, the schedule. People are out of town. They're on vacation. They're drunk from the night before. They're sleeping in. People are tired. People just, don't want to get up and go out at, 11 o'clock at night till 9 a.m. the next day. Who does want to do that? I don't want to do that. But for 30, 50, 100, $200 an hour, that's where your boy is going to get up and go hustle and go make that money. Okay. So that's why there's a lot of money to be made in snow plowing, and there's a lot of money to be made subcontracting out in the snow plowing world as well. All right. Does that make some sense? So that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy this episode. It was just kind of a little bit of a lengthy one here, but I know if you're new to this, you're probably taking a lot of notes. If not, go back, maybe re-listen to it again, take some notes, jot some rates down on your phone, reach out to some of the companies in the area. Again, maybe you don't have your truck or your guys totally maxed out, and not that you want to work yourself or them to death, but an extra $200, $400, $500 per event adds up. I think we've already made another $1,000+ subcontracting out between the larger company at my complex and then also from my friend Tyler. $1,000. That's 1,000 different, things that we get to do now with choices with dollar bills. We can go buy more Christmas presents at that time. We can go buy nicer food. We can pay rent. We can buy Emmy toys. Extra money just brings in choices. And for me, that is what we need to be doing instead of being lazy in the winter season. All right. We got to keep the hustle going. And that way we don't lose momentum as we all head into spring. All right. So that's what I got for you guys. Last quick thing I'll say besides the contracts and the subcontractor agreement at launchpreneuracademy.com, maybe check them out, is get your tickets for Together in the Trades. Together in the Trades is coming up right around the corner. We're super excited about that. It's going to be here in 4, 5, 6 months in June. You can get those tickets at togetherinthetrades.com. Oh, and one last thing, a little teaser here. We'll talk more about it here in the next week, is going to be the Hype House. We're doing the Green Industry Hype House. Again, super excited about that. We got about 10, 15, 20 quote unquote influencers coming on down, collabing to make a ton of content to kind of backfill for spring. It's going to be super exciting. So those podcasts will start rolling out probably at the mid to end of February. And then also we're going to do a bunch of YouTube videos, try to help as many people out to grow. It's all about the community. It's not a vacation, it's work, but we will be down in Tampa, Florida area. And we're going to all collab with podcasts, YouTube videos, and just put out as much helpful content as we all can in the spring. And also do live streams every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then I think Friday we're taking the night off because we're just going to chill. And then Saturday I think we're doing a meetup at Armature Work Parks again, if I'm not mistaken. I think maybe noon, 1 o'clock. Look for it on social media. But we're going to be down there. It's going to be just a really, really good time. And then a lot of people are flying home that Saturday night, Sunday morning, and getting out of Dodge and headed back. So there's going to be live streams every night. Monday, I think Sunday night, we got 2 back-to-back live streams. Monday night, 2 back-to-back live streams. Wednesday, back-to-back, so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about marketing, equipment purchases, how to hire, ways to be more profitable. So it's just a great way for us to come together, to collab, the community, a lot of people that are really trying to put out content and to help people. So if you guys want to follow along on YouTube, check out like the Almonds. I think the Spencers are coming, the Creoles, Liz and myself, so many other people to name. I think, who else do we got coming down? Jeremiah Jennings from Growing Green, B&B Lawn Care, for example, and a bunch of other people, maybe even Andy Mulder, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be a really, really good time. So the Green Industry Hype House is coming right around the corner. Make sure you guys check out the YouTube channels and Instagram lives when those come out. That is going to be the week of January 29th through February 5th, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Guys, that's what I got for you. Hopefully you appreciate that. Hopefully you appreciate my voice spiking there and hitting puberty at the 51-minute mark on the podcast is fantastic. That's what I got for you guys today. Look forward to coming back here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 podcasts a week for you guys, trying to help you guys grow both in snow and in lawn care. And again, guys, just appreciate the support, for real. You guys actually, I think we were already probably talking about this a minute ago, but hit over 1 million downloads on the podcast, all thanks to you guys, and pretty much at 1,000 ratings and reviews, which is freaking insane. So keep showing me some love, keep supporting the podcast. We do it for you guys, and we appreciate when you guys reciprocate and show some love back. Amen. All right, over and out, guys. We'll catch up with you here on the next one. Go out there, make it a great day, and we look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one.
If you need help with your books, listen up. Carla and Joe and the entire team at Cycle CPA is Brian's go-to firm for accounting services. Now, if you're in the market for a CPA that focuses in on our industry, go listen to episode 288 of the podcast or check out the free webinar for Fullerton Unfiltered listeners that takes place Thursday night, January 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You do need to register for the webinar, and it focuses on business cash flow management and accounting best practices for those that are in lawn care and landscaping. The link is in the show description, and if you decide to utilize their bookkeeping or CPA services, please mention Brian to save yourself $200.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.